Dumsor or no dumsor. Say adia ne Ghana for ye dwene ho eno no. Eja mo na mo ye mpanifo eba energy ho ensensema mabokui ewo mu. Looking at the situation of Ghana, the outgoing president in Sama Wakanye at the bo anoba, the outgoing president rather, and as a government, no, the waba and so a different picture is being painted all together. Madaroma, Ghana for 8 years. What is the situation now, and what needs to be done? Say, pese energy no etimi gina so.
That's it. The situation has been in the same since 2017. And I think as a minor, we've not prioritized the energy sector, and lack of prioritization. You're engaging in poor planning, and then lack of payment of our debts.
Hold on, no, it has been there since 2017. That means yenya ho hwe.
Dabi. Yenya energy sector no hwe. We've not. They send yet tia NDC jano. Sa na tia NDC abeje. In the sense that okay, 2015-16, I think that we went to a serious, severe power crisis. And one of the reasons in caused our power crisis was because of generation. We had a deficit with respect to generation. Previous government assigned a lot of contracts, and also public records at that time. Now we had excess of power of about 60%, because we were doing 2,000 megawatts, whilst our generation was around 3,000. Independable at that time was around 3,500 megawatts. So we're doing in excess of power, and we needed to pay for this particular excess. So what the previous government wanted to do was that to pay for the excess, we needed what we call the Energy Sector Levy Act. So in 2015, no, Omo passed that particular act, and that time, so now, see, the dollar rate, and that and difference, and the pass say, bet me this energy debt recovery levy within the ESLA component, to redeem some of these debts. And yet to tear more in 2016 and 2017, I buy for buy. No, a canon as well, because some of the gas supply contracts were costing Ghana 400 million a year. Some of the PPAs were costing Ghana as high as 600, 800 million a year. And then energy sector recovery program document now that time no sana na air cost to yen take opinion in air cost to yen. So that's what we needed to do, is that what we needed to do was that we needed to redeem the debt. And in redemption of the debt, the Abine decided to introduce a special purpose vehicle out of the ESLA levy. Or introduce special purpose vehicle, thinking that the Betma redeem in 2017, about 2 billion Ghana cedis, Eritrea petroleum sector debt, because only before 2015, they subsidized petrol, and also and I had 1 billion, so some of the power sector debt. But Abribiano na Esla no Ebobusia Eritrea debt, but on Timin. And in 2019, you say Kano Air Compound, then Energy Commission and the Minister of Energy came out with a report called Energy Sector Recovery Program document. Na you see you can say near Afibia Casa and Ebo. Na ye be de nyeska aridimusa Kano. And the report was showing that each year power sector no boka almost 2 billion, even not almost $2 billion. So we needed $2 billion each year as a shortfall revenue to settle the debt in the power sector. And the projection was that by 2023, Kanabedru almost $12 billion. So we knew a kana eba fibia ne kana se niebedu. But the problem is we are not making provisions to settle this particular debt. Even though your budget, we make provisions in the expenditure side, what we call energy sector shortfalls, we were not fulfilling, or we're not committing to paying the total amount I spend and appropriating in the budget. So it was compounding. The debt was compounding. But over recent times, aside say side, the other challenge also is that the distribution companies, especially ECG, which is a major consumer of power, or consumer of 80% of power generated, ECG is to me and redeeming in terms of revenue mobilization.
Okay.
Nisika Giano and averagely ECG timidi 47% of sky was origin. And he say, my ECG 100 cities, if Memphis and say, man, ECG Tria, et ton cania 100 cities.
Also, 100 cities, so 47 cities.
Yes, 47 cities. Nti Abribiano 53 no eyeka edema or my Ghana. So it has been compounding.
But my answer na beto aso no. Being an policy analyst no. What could have been done? I betimi yi sanyama we nyina no every one ma emmeye ka and ya compile ya e de ho abraga na.
So what could have been done was inject financial and operational discipline. These are the most critical points. I will say in ECG. ECG needed reforms in terms of how they sell power and how they collect revenue out of power. Almost retailing of power is a major problem. And for that matter, they instituted a lot of measures, interventions. They thought that postpaid, a problem. So we needed smart meters or we needed prepaid. They started with prepaid, still a very, very problematic moment. They said no, prepaid na buy no papa smart. Smart still was a problem. So it needed a critical audit of the whole ECG system to know where exactly the problem is. Okay. The problem may not be a system problem, but the problem is a human resource-based problem.
Managerial and then as if for political influence and then as if for
influence and political influence could be true because government is also a major consumer of a power from ECG.
Yeah.
And consumer and also contributes to the low recovery rate of ECG.
Wow.
All these are some of the factors that are not affecting ECG mobilizing. Now, in 2023, you will say no, issue no, ECG this canons were instead of say audit to your IPPs no. Instead of audit to your IPPs no, or this canons were next cano or chichane basa be IPPs no and benefiting. So government said that okay, in 2017, the World Bank brought a particular model called cash waterfall framework. It is a cash waterfall framework, no. I say a referencing framework. ECG is kind of Fabitia IPPs, no, based on percentages, are more contributed to the power sector and have say power sector service providers. And they started in August 2023. August 2023, no. ECG says, the private sector power service providers, but not public sector no ontia. Inti otia almost krana na ontia mo mundu Africa na osofola about 23%. And 23% ni nyina e ka e compound ema e sector no. Inti civil society dede PURC ba out e be sanction omo I think in May and almost started so ombetua public sector for no so ombetua mo kakra mo. But no krana still no muntimi entua full Kai also mutuyama the service providers in the power sector. And government also a contributor of the whole framework. No, was also no balance Ebekabiana is the gentleman and also on the redeeming home. Now Otuyama service providers no are buying so entria. So from August 2023 till today, I may no say unless we are December report, government has not made a peswa. Ontia peswa enfama cash waterfall mechanism model and framework no. And all these compounds the debts in the power sector. Intimini and I may no say no. A minimum say power sector debt no 2.5 billion, which may be on the face value because Saudi our debt now. It is 50-year debt, and as a power purchase agreement debt, it is gas supply contract debt, supply defense and transmission debt. But within the whole framework, no agencies no kraka or modeno, more than the $2.5 billion because ECG as of 2023 liabilities 47 billion Ghana cedis. VRA liabilities 22 billion Ghana cedis. Netco ne liability 7 billion Ghana cedis. Wipa authority ne liabilities 11 billion Ghana cedis. Uka munkwa agency liabilities bomu aminia. Enye sikasem, enye kumasem na yekai. It is huge. Wow.
Yeah, okay, that means there's solution as far away from us now, and there's something we could do.
It is far away. I think that we just have to have a whole strategic approach to this with different milestones, with different objectives within timelines they also achieve. But I think the most critical part for us is to start from the bottom. And the bottom here means that we must start our approach from the discourse. How do we make the discourse very viable? How do we stop ECG from making losses? How do we stop Netco from making losses? Whether profit, that is whether profit and losses and asset trade losses, or how do you make them stop distribution losses? I think those are the critical for us now. Yet me and we are now you are starting about transmission and starting about generation. I think we need to start to solve the problem from
the losses side, tackling the losses. Okay.
Yeah, tackling we are after now about middle, which is the transmission. Now about generation. That is how we must solve this problem with specific time frames to solve them. And yes, I mean, dumsor any better nada.
Now, so dear, you are self-inflicted idea. When they bring that authority and the power, that obey man enough, especially with these governments in the power, and I say parties in power, not Omaya Sadiwi.
I mean, yes, yeah, true. Obama, I would say, we need certain reforms at the power sector. If say one yena also kase the status quo remains, it is going to affect you and your government, right? And I think that any serious-minded leader, very transformative, innovative leader, should solve this problem once and for all. He was a solve a can free hole. Now yet me injecting certain infrastructure. I can't so crank, yet me injecting infrastructure in the power sector. Some of your transmission lines, every 40 years. Some of your transformers every 20 years. Some of them need change. But I didn't because of some of these debt issues in the power sector. And it's all you're buying now, but now because be maintaining status quo. And you know Ghanaians, how more
wow. We have a long way to go, but God is our help. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Right. Anyway, dumsor is a thing of the past, no. I'm going thing of the past over. I'm going thing of the past. Yes, so matter
to Pochon.
Yes.